reality, one God, one life, one way, one reality, one God, one life, one way, one reality, one God, one life, one way, one reality.
Right? As a non-Jew, to say that the Jewish people of Israel are God's designated teachers
For the nations.
for the nations, for the rest of the world. Originally, there were all Noahites. Everybody's a descendant of Noah. And even today, Israel is still a descendant of Noah. We're all descendants of Noah.
That's true.
But at Sinai, God chose one little family. And you'll see this family that starts with Abraham and comes all the way down. And he chooses one little family of Noahites and makes them B'nai Yisrael at Mount Sinai. Gives them this extraordinary Torah and the commandments, that is to make them different, to set them apart from all the other nations, to make them not only just unique, but to make them holy, right? And that this holiness would rub off on the rest of the nations, but also through the fact that he took this one Noahite family that would maintain this idea of monotheism, this idea of rejection of idolatry, and would teach the nations about the one true God. And that one true God became known as the God of Yisrael. And so the real crux of it is, it's difficult for the non-Jew to say, you Jews,
all right,
you got it right. And that's when I first read this letter years ago, and I saw Rabbi Emden's call to return to your first teachers, right? That set me on a track and course in my life. That I realized that the Torah is in the hands of the people of Israel. God gave it to the people of Israel, and they are to be the communicators of the Torah, and that I have to be willing to submit myself to the fact that they are indeed the communicators. Does that mean that I can't teach Torah? Does that mean that I can't tell people about the idea of the God of Israel? No. But they are the main efficient communicators of the Torah.
Right.
When I have questions about ideas that could I do this or should I practice this, is it allowable for me to do this in a certain way? I get on the phone with rabbis, or I get on the email with certain rabbis, and I ask them, is this allowable for me as a non-Jew? Can I practice this? Should I do this? What should I do in a situation like this? And, these guys are knowledgeable in Torah. They can give you an answer. And it's not just an answer. It's an answer based on the Word of God. It's based on the Torah itself. So they give me an answer. Now I have an option, since I've asked. I don't really have an option. Before I had an option. But now that I've asked and I've got an answer from them, you know what? I got to do what they say. I can't say, well, you guys are wrong. You just don't understand.
Right.
Now I got to actually do what they say, because I can't turn from that judgment. And that is difficult. And I'm talking about a real difficulty that exists, because within the Gentile framework, and especially within the Christian framework of today, as it has evolved, they have saw the Jewish people, the rabbinic sages of earlier years and today, as being blinded to truth, as not being able to really understand their Torah, as not really one that should be teaching anybody anything. Why? Because now they are the true Israel, and they have the true teachings, and they're ones that propagates this whole information, that we have to submit to them in some way. And it's a whole denial of Israel. It's a whole denial of the system of Torah. It's a denial of the God of Yisrael.
It really is.
It really is, because you fabricate a whole new Sabbath, which becomes the Sunday celebration for,
which was created by the Catholic Church.
Was created by the Catholic Church, and eventually evolves over into Protestantism. They hang on to some things, and all these things are being created and formulated by people that will not submit to the original teachers. They will not. Why? Because if you ask any observant Jew, when is the Sabbath? Right? It'll tell you sundown Friday till sundown Saturday, whenever that is. It might be 27, 28, 29 hours, but it's from sundown to sundown. And people don't want to hear that. You know, I always hear people say, well, gee, you know, we keep the 10 Commandments. I said, you keep the Sabbath? Well, yeah, I'll go to church on Sunday.
Then you're not keeping the Sabbath.
You're not keeping the Sabbath.
Now bear in mind,
not keeping the rest of them either.
we're not really saying keeping the Sabbath.
No, but I'm
Israel is commanded.
using that as an example.
What we mean is we need to recognize when the real Sabbath is.
Right.
If you're a non-Jew, and obviously this is something that was even taught for in the Christian text,
right,
that if you're a non-Jew, you are to recognize when the real Sabbath is.
Exactly.
But you have to go back to the information so that you can see why it must be recognized.
Exactly. And obviously the recognition of the right Sabbath enhances certain ideas and true ideas. It actually enhances true and correct ideas about God by knowing what the Sabbath is all about. And so it's not, you know, God didn't just throw this day out there and say, okay, this is a great day and you guys take it off, you know, but that day, even though we're not required to observe it the way a Jew does, there is an obligation on our part to recognize that day and to recognize the intent of that day. What's the intent? What lies behind it? What is the ideas that is being presented from this day? And we learn so much from just that idea of that day. But we have to go back, and I keep saying this, and I want to make it very clear. We have to do exactly what Rabbi Emden said, and that's go back to our original teachers. Because without the original teachers, we will never understand these great concepts and these great principles and ideas behind what the Sabbath's all about. Behind many other things, by the way. And even the laws that are clearly stated, at least from this Messianic movement, you know, whether you buy the Messianic movement, whether you don't, what we're pointing out is that there is a historical document that seems to have a group of Messianic Jews teaching non-Jews to keep the 7 laws of Noah.
Exactly, and this is very important because, you know, it's not only that some non-Jews have come to these 7 laws, but it's something that even in the Christian world, because I was a Christian at one time, it was there for me to do, but I didn't even pay attention to it. You know, but once I realized what's going on, it's why I chose to go the path of the Torah only, because to me that's the real truth. You know, there are things in the NT that for me are not true, and therefore that's not what I follow. I don't have a Christian Bible that I call my Bible. I follow the Bible of the Jew, you know, the Hebrew Bible, the Scriptures. That's what to me is the truth. But that's what he's saying, is that the true teachers from the very beginning, including with what led to Christianity, were teaching to the Gentiles, follow the 7 laws of law. And I hope you enjoyed today. I have. Because, you know, that's all we're trying to do here. You know, it started out because of one video we saw that was trying to say the 7 laws of Noah are bad.
Right.
And I'm thinking, this individual who is a self-professed Christian has no idea what he's talking about if he realizes that his own original teachers were teaching him, are teaching him through the letters of his text to follow those laws. And so it shocked me, because this individual, you know, was very adamant, but to his own support, I want to say that there was at one time when his own words said, well, even if they are in the New Testament, you know, we live by grace. And I'm thinking, okay, so now you're actually seeing that they're there. You know, and it's actually, I can see your mind working, because you're not contemplating them.
But he's in conflict at that point.
But you're in conflict, and I understand that. And so if you're watching this, I hope that you can get to learn something, because you can apply it to your life, regardless of you being a Christian. And that's the point, is that the original people that led to Christianity